Sure doesn't slide in and lock.
No.
No,
Unless you know something.
I
that
know.
could be a
I'll
violation.
call you one of these days. Because it's
I even got a torch.
I think,
I got one. It's probably about 60 years old. I don't really get it. I yeah, but but you know,
you visit Port Harris.
Hey.
Well, say, I see.
Good.
Yeah, I.
Yes, I'm super excited. Was I appointed? Yeah, so I ran for city council a few years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't make it, but impressed the mayor, so he asked me if I wanted a seat. So he offered it to me, and I've been on it. Yeah, so they're either recommended by other people on the committee or people who just want to get involved. He offers it to it, and then the city council will vote in, and then yeah. So. Few years now, yeah. So. I know, I'm hoping I won't make any enemies. I'll try to do what's right for y'all.
Yeah. My favorite, yeah, I do. They do. They do. Yeah, I got one of their backpacks.
I'm kidding.
He took. I know, I just heard that. Yeah. So they were. Yeah, okay.
That's the problem.
It's like.
A lot of these people No, you already told me. That's what you said. That's not quite how I said it. You got your hearing aids in? Oh, yeah, I do.
Probably not.
How are you?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll start.
Been
good.
This one.
Yeah, I'm sure it's.
I'm still trying to keep.
Yeah. I know. Maybe.
I was talking to a student, I was like. I was like, wait, I guess maybe not. I was like, cause he's still like a sophomore. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Felt a little out of your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I'll see you too.
Which one of the items on the agenda is?
I can tell you which ones. It is item three and five,
3 and 5.
4 and 5. So they're right next to the Henderson subdivision.
Huh?
It's right next to the Henderson subdivision. They want to keep it.
So it is, excuse me, it is 6:30, so we'll go ahead and begin our meeting tonight. If you'd please take a seat, and we'd like to welcome you here. We're always happy to see people take an interest in what's going on in our community. So we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Tammy, would you lead us in that?
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you very much for that. Commissioners, we need an approval of the planning and zoning minutes for the December 16th, 2025 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from that meeting.
I'll
second
second
it.
the motion. Oh, go for it. Hey, we, I guess we'll do Brian on that one.
Now,
Okay.
can you pull your mic a little closer, please?
Can you hear us now? Okay. If the light's on, it's supposed to be.
Is that better?
Okay, any other corrections to the minutes?
Sure, thank you.
Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I'll abstain. I was not at the meeting, so. Okay, Katie, can you go ahead and do the roll call
Randall Kempton,
Here.
Sally Smith,
here?
Aaron Richards,
Here.
Jim Lawrence,
Here.
Bruce Casper,
There.
McKay Francis, Brian Thackeray,
Here.
Vern Muir,
Here.
Dan Hanna, Tammy Geddes.
Here. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, as you see, we have quite a busy agenda tonight, so we'll go ahead and get started on going through that. The first item is a plat for Waterfall Townhomes located at 795 South Fifth West. The application is to subdivide the parcel into the buildable lots. And is the applicant here, or Alan, are you going to go through that with?
I'll be doing that.
And quickly, before we begin, my name is Spencer Remmel. I'm the Rexburg City Attorney. Folks, we have a large agenda tonight. We are going to strictly adhere to a 3-minute speaking limit that is standard for what we're doing, particularly in a situation where we have this many agenda items. And then again, we run a tight ship here as far as procedure and protocol with when it's a public hearing, when dialogue and any back and forth or questions are permitted. Again, there's procedural safeguards and things that are outlined by Idaho State Legislature and the Idaho Supreme Court that we strictly adhere to. And so again, if we could limit those comments when it comes to that time, and Alan and Ms. Smith again do a good job of doing that. But again, just from the outset. And then also one other note, it is our procedure. We adjourn at 10 o'clock, correct? And so we'll get as far as we can in the next 3.5 hours. But unless we're real close, it is our procedure and protocol to adjourn at 10 o'clock, table those items, and then pick it up at the next public hearing. Okay. Thanks, Al.
Thank you.
Thank you, Spencer.
Okay. Thank you, Chairperson Smith. Just wanted to point out, here's the plat. This is located along Fifth West. And let me give you an idea of where that is. We have University Boulevard that runs along here. Here is 7th South, the middle, this is the middle school, that's right. And the property is located right here. And that is the plat that you are looking at tonight. Staff has reviewed this. He has met all the requirements needed to reach approval from staff, and staff is recommending it to you for recommending approval to City Council.
Okay, any questions for staff?
I have a question. So Alan, would you enlarge that just a little bit bigger? If I understand correctly, we're looking at the northern side of it has parking, and there's enough parking for
All of those
all of the units that are there. And then show me the coming in and the going out, we got
You have
one
an entry
spot.
right here off of Fifth West that comes in, and they access. And they stayed under the 30, at 30 or lower, so they meet the fire code of not needing two exits.
So they only have the one
They
exit.
only have one exit, yes.
Thank you.
And then, FYI, just what is their zoning there? MDR?
MDR, I think it's MDR 1 is what the zone is there. Let me double check here. It's MDR 2.
And Alan, so this is Waterfall, and then Park Green is just the mirror.
It's just the mirror
Mirror
on the
image
other
of it.
parcel.
Okay.
That will be the next one we do.
Okay.
There's two different owners. There's an owner of the property and then the developer is involved in this one. So that's why they're separate properties. The other one, the developer owns on his own.
Any other questions? Okay, and then just a remark, maybe for the public that's here, by the time these plats come to us, they have been through months and months and months of review and hoops and all the things that they've had to go through. So by the time it comes here, and staff recommends that they have checked out, everything that's pertinent to that division or that plat. Are we ready for a motion?
Sally, I'll make a motion that we recommend to council the approval of the Waterfall Townhomes plat located at 795 South Fifth West.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, and the second one is Park Green Townhomes plat located at 811 South Fifth West, and the application is to subdivide that parcel also into 30 buildable lots. And it's,
For some
Partly
reason,
the-
I'm not finding the one ready for recording. Do you have that in there, Katie?
I don't see it, but there are versions.
I saw it.
Yeah, we can show a prior version. They have one that is ready to be. So really what you're looking at is just a mirror image of what was going on. Here's the parcel that you just approved. This is the one that's right below it, and it's identical in parking, it's identical in number of units, identical in buildings. Everything's the same. And they're platting those as these are townhomes, so they can be sold individually.
And they have their own private egress or their own separate egress.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question. Tell me the common area, is that the grassy area for them then, or is that?
Yes, it's
something-
grass area, any area that the HOA will be responsible to take
So
care
there's
of.
an HOA. Okay.
Yep, there
thanks.
are HOAs for both of these.
Okay.
okay, any other questions for staff? Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the plat, recommend to city council to approve the plat for the Park Green townhomes.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Those will both be recommended to city council. Okay, our first public hearing tonight is Diaz, and this is known as the Birch property. This will be a rezone from LDR 1 to LDR 2, located at approximately 301 South 12th West. And the application is to change the zoning map from low density residential 1 to low density residential 2. And as Alan explains this, he'll explain kind of the history on this and what's going on, so.
Okay, this was brought before you about a month ago, a little longer, and presented to you as being requested to change the eastern portion of this that was LDR 2, the comp plan, to intermediate, so they could ask for LDR 3. And then they were asking to take the LDR 1, which is the west half of this, and change it to LDR 2. You guys approved it, sent it forward to city council. City council rejected it and was sending it back to you. The applicant looked at that and just went, okay, just pull off the comp plan change, pull off the LDR3. I just want to take that 6.5 acres and match what's already there to LDR2. So that's the only thing in front of you, is taking this half right here and making it LDR2 to match what is already there. It already fits within the comprehensive plan. We've reviewed it, looked through this. It's been gone over multiple times. Staff recommends it to you for recommendation for approval. And the applicant is online if you have questions for him.
And so how much difference in density then?
I think there's 12 homes is all it will increase.
Okay.
And the charter schools on the LDR1, right?
Well, yeah, and the charter school goes in front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions for staff before we open the public hearing? Okay, this property has come before us a lot of times, so
Mhm.
we're working on it.
So getting very familiar with
Yes,
it.
we are. Okay. The way that the public hearing works is anyone who would like to speak on the proposal needs to come up to the dais and give their name and their address. And we'll do that we'll hear first from those that are in favor of the proposal, then those who are neutral, and then those who are against the proposal. And again, if you've made public comment, if you've written any public comment, we have that and we've read it. And also if one of your neighbors or something says something, then we'd appreciate it if you wouldn't repeat it again, just say that you agree with them. So we'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and anybody who would like to speak in favor of the proposal can come forward now. For the other one, okay, all right, okay. Anyone who would like to speak in favor of this proposal? Okay, anybody who's neutral to the proposal?
Commissioners, good to see you. My name is Vince Haley, live at 2309 West 960 South here in Rexburg. As many of you know, I served on your commission for 6.5 years, and I gotta be honest, I miss the personal invitations to your parties you guys throw here. Yeah. I know that there's been a lot of conversation with this parcel, with other parcels on 12th West, specifically about traffic. I'm an unpopular opinion and don't think that there is a traffic problem on 12th West. In fact, I drove down 12th West to get to this very meeting, and I counted about 5 cars on either direction. Now, I will tell you that there's a speeding problem on 12th West. And I will tell you that the lights drive me absolutely bonkers. But the actual traffic problem on 12th West, in my opinion, does not exist. If we can do what the city and the county told us they would do and link the lights with this fiber network and get that figured out, I'm hoping that'll improve the light situation, because I hate getting stopped 4 times just to get under the highway every time I get into town, and I have to go through that. So that is my opinion on this parcel and the others tonight in terms of the traffic on 12th West.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else neutral? Anyone who would like to speak against this proposal?
Brent Harris, 1125 Woodson Lane, Rexburg, Idaho. I think he just, he said there was not a problem, but there was a problem. He had to wait 4 times for the light to change. That's not the light's total problem. There is a traffic problem, and there are other proposals that you'll see tonight that will only aggravate that. I don't necessarily have a problem with changing the zoning, but I do want to say that it will aggravate the traffic problem, and it just keeps getting worse. And I know there are plans to try to alleviate that, but they're down the road. So it needs to be considered. And I believe that having to wait for the light to change 4 times is not just a light problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak against the proposal? Okay,
Good evening. David Higginson. I live at 1120 Green Willow Drive. So that would be the first street as you head down. If you head south, we're the first street. I'd like to know what the access to this. Again, I spoke to you before, last one we approved, when you approved the charter school. My complaint at that time was transportation, getting cars in and out. And I have to disagree with what has been said. Yes, at 7 o'clock at night, there is no traffic problem. I'd be the first one to agree with that. But I guarantee you at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, there is a traffic problem. And every time you guys approve another complex to go in that area without addressing the major cause, which is the road on 12th West, the expansion of that, making it wider, putting in more lanes, you're just accelerating and making the problem worse. The other thing I'd like to know is how they're going to access that property. Are they going to come through Twisted Willow? Are you going to put a new access on the freeway? I don't think so. How are they going to access that? They shouldn't be relying on me and the subdivision I live in. It actually goes right in front of Tammy Geddes' house to access and get out of that property. Are they going to access it through where the charter school is? What is the plan and without that plan, I'm recommending to the committee that you decline this request until a plan comes up that satisfies that. They need to have an access plan. I have no problem with I'm like Brent, I don't have a problem with the zoning per se. Are they going to access it through the meadows? Are they going to access it through our subdivision? Or do they have agreement to go through the development where the new charter school is going to be? I just want a plan. Give us a plan, and then we can decide whether that's reasonable. But someone needs to address the traffic problem on 12th West. And every time you approve a new one, and if you don't expand that road, it's going to be a real problem down the road. Thank you.
okay. So our position in this is just to change the zone from LDR1 to LDR2. We have no plan. And until a plan comes forward, those things are not discussed, but then they go through all the things about traffic and it's all checked out at that time. So we're just here and things can change, so they can't come with a plan. The applicant is online. Mr. Diaz, do you have any rebuttal to any of those comments?
Hey, Sally, let's wait until the end. Let's have him take a note of those things, and if he wants to.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak against? Okay, so now can we ask him to do that? Okay, Mr. Diaz, do you have any rebuttal comments?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Commissioners, thank you very much. Members of the audience, thank you for your comments as well. Just regarding the last comment, obviously we're not talking about a concept plan or anything like that, but yes, we have met several times with the city, and the city's made it very clear that we have to have 2 ingress, egress to this project. And so, yes, one is through 12th West, through where the charter school goes east and west there. And then one is through Twisted Willow. So, yes, we want to make sure that obviously by fire code, we need to have those 2 entrances, exits. But yes, the city has made it very clear to us that we need to comply not only with the city code, but with the fire code as well to make sure we're doing it right. And when, obviously, when, if and when this gets approved, we'll be, I've already asked the members of the community to sit down with them and show them our plan, because I want to be an open book. I want to be a good developer and meet with the neighbors and just try to address as many issues, questions that they have. Now, with regard to traffic, yes, we understand that any new development, whether it be one additional home or 50 additional townhomes, it will bring more traffic. However, our role in meeting with Keith is to try to make sure we help expand the road so that the service level will not drop below the sea level, that or better improve the current scenario. We're not trying to simply add more traffic and not do anything about it. So again, we are trying to find a win-win situation. As I mentioned last time, or as I mentioned to the neighbors, as I have corresponded with many of you, obviously our goal was to increase the comprehensive plan and increase the zoning to an LDR3. That didn't happen. So we, in following the lead of the city council and trying to find a happy medium and a win-win for everybody, it may not be 100% of what you guys want. It may not be 100% of what I want, but we felt like adding those 12 additional units by increasing this half to an LDR2 is a hopefully a win-win situation. And yes, we understand that there are issues to be addressed, and we will be working with you guys to try to address those issues and meet the requirements of the city as well as the concerns of the neighbors in the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Do the commissioners have any questions?
No questions at this point. So we will
Thank
go
you.
ahead and close our public hearing, and we will take time now for our discussion on this proposal. Any feelings or any other questions for staff?
I now have a question for staff. Alan, are you ready?
I am. Always.
So here's my question. If Mr. Diaz doesn't own the properties that connect to Twisted Willow,
It's his responsibility to find the second out. But it's not relevant
okay,
tonight.
okay.
And I have it under contract.
So even with the school in the front having that on the lower side coming in, that's not necessarily an option to have a second out that way.
No.
Oh, okay.
He has to work with whatever, if he could get one there, but that's stuff he has to work out. We don't get to that point until he starts submitting a plat. And that's when he has to come in and show us, here's where my access is going to be. Here's my second, here's my primary. And then if it goes across a property that he doesn't own, he has to show affidavits that they've allowed him to do that.
Got it.
It all has to meet the legal ramifications to do that.
Can
So-
I add? Can
Oh,
I
go
add
ahead.
to that?
No, I think we're done with that.
We have the Steiner property under contract.
Marco,
Yes.
we can't go any further now with yours.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So where last time when we met, the traffic level was at a D level right now?
It's at a C, but it's
Is it a C? Oh, I understood the last time.
the
it was-
charter school could take it to a D.
Gotcha. Thank you. So we need to take that into consideration. But then that also
Well,
will go back to
again-
staff and
Again, you're back
Public Works
to,
will take care of that.
that's a future discussion
Gotcha.
of whether we approve
Thank
the
you.
plats and things like that.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments or?
Power this back up. So we've had this conversation multiple times about traffic. There's only two people that build roads, developers and cities, right? Federal government's not going to come build your roads. So when it comes to 12th West, each parcel as it develops out widens its frontage. We couldn't even as a municipal or as a community pass a bond to build a new police station. So I don't see any reason to talk about municipal bonds to build roads. So we're going to rely, obviously, as a municipality on the development community to slowly widen 12th as each of those frontages come online. So that just happens under the development code. I think this is a reasonable request. LDR2 next to a freeway. It's not a significant increase. 12 additional rooftops. I can't remember the exact number. It does not generate that many trips per hour when you go into a engineer's traffic study. So I'm in support.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you, Aaron. I'm good with this. I do want to say something as well about the traffic too, and our city engineer does a really good job of looking at that. When they do look at what we call level of service, he's looking at peak hours when the traffic is at its worst, to make those kinds of decisions, and we rely on his expertise as part of this when we make a decision. And so I trust that he's looked at the traffic thoroughly and that it can handle it. I think this is a good compromise.
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, to me, it's a good compromise, I think is the right way to say it. I think Mr. Diaz has done a great job of visiting with the community. I listened to the city council's meeting of last week or week before, whenever they discussed it, and a lot of interesting points raised, and the concerns about the bar that we set for changing the comprehensive plan. That was, city council was very concerned about that and not changing the comp plan, at least in this area at this time. And I think that Mr. Diaz coming back and asking for LDR2 is reasonable, and I'm in support of this.
And I will point out that when we put zoning next to zoning, we try not to jump too high from one kind. So this is a lowered residential zone. We're not throwing it next to something that is high residential. We're trying to keep those close. So from rural to low, and then to rural again are those basic step downs or step ups, whatever way they're stepping. But that's a more gentle way of presenting a zone and putting housing here. So I like this idea of LDR2 in this particular place.
Thank you. Vern, anything? Okay, there's no further discussion or comments. I'll ask for the motion.
If I can get my computer to turn on, I'll be happy to make a motion. I'll make a motion that we recommend to City Council the approval of the rezone of the Birch property from LDR1 to LDR2. It fits within the comprehensive plan currently and appears to be a good fit for the area and a good compromise solution.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That will also be going to City Council. Our next public hearing is a comp plan change from low residential to intermediate residential, located at approximately 204 South 5th West. The application is to change the comprehensive plan designation from low residential to intermediate residential. And again, it's Mikhail Mortensen. Is he here? Are you presenting on this one, Alan? Okay.
Michael wasn't coming, was he?
Mikhail is here, but
Mikhail.
she'd like you to present.
Okay. Okay, thank you, commissioners. The property is located on 5th West. Let me go back to the map so you can see. Here's 2nd South. Porter Park is right here, so you're coming down to 5th West. It is the lots located right in here, which you can see. If I get the right one. On here, what they're presenting to you. They are looking at increasing the zoning on this, but to do so would require them going from low residential to intermediate residential. so that they can ask for the LDR3 and then be able to build in this place. Staff has looked at it. They've met the requirements of this, and we're recommending it to you for recommendation to City Council.
Okay, any questions for Alan at this time?
Pull up the area zoning. just
Yeah, pull up the
assess
comp maps
everything.
and the
Everything.
zoning, please.
Super helpful.
Like to see the comprehensive?
Yeah, let's
Yep.
do comprehensive first.
Yep, because that's what we're doing first.
So those lots are located right in here. Let me thin that out a little so you can see them better. It's this lot and this one and this one and this one is where it's located. You have high residential just across the road. You have high residential kitty corner to this. In fact, that whole corridor along there is high residential. And then you have low residential on everything across Fifth West.
So on that side of the street, though, it's just regular rents, residential.
It's all low, it's low residential till you get down into the commercial side of it.
Right. Okay.
Down in here.
Where's the Kennedy School?
Just above.
Kennedy
Oh, no.
School is just a little bit farther up here on the corner.
Right. So to clarify, and I'm just looking here at the staff report here. The current 1.68 acres currently allows about 10 units because the LDR2 allows 10 or 6 units per acre.
LDR2 allows 6 per acre.
6 per acre, which results in 10 for this
But 10
particular
total.
cost.
Yes.
10 total for this.
Mhm.
And the proposal would result in a 16 unit
15 to
possibility.
16 units, yes,
16, 15, 16 units. And that's if it went to LDR3.
correct.
Thank you.
But if we're changing the zone to LDR3, we have to note the maximum amount, which would be an MDR2, correct?
No. For comp plan, you
For
have
the
to
comp
look at
plan,
that
that's
as an
what-
option.
Yeah.
Right, that's the
Right.
comp plan, because we're looking at the comp plan right now.
Right.
So we need to look at that
As
as the
an
number.
option.
Yeah,
What's
But
the-
also take into account that you have the power to say, no, we're not giving that to you.
right. But someone could change their mind and come back and want the MDR.
They could come back and ask.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So what is the highest density in the IR?
20,
20 units per acre.
Yeah, is that the MDR
MDR2.
2?
Yeah.
That's the highest in intermediate.
Thank you.
Alan, are there residents on that property already?
Yes, there are 2 homes on it
Oh.
already.
Okay.
2 homes and a garage.
Yeah, the one's just a shop on the one that's on the north, but then the one in the center has a house and the other one has a house. And my understanding, they're staying. They're not going to be tore down.
Oh, okay. That was.
But again, you can't take that into account
Yeah.
because they could always choose to later on make that change.
Yeah, this is strictly looking at a comprehensive plan change is all that we're looking at right now.
Correct.
A question for you. Do we have any other places where it would just be like 3 lots that are a different zone than everything else around it?
We have it in different places within the city. We've even got some where it's 1 lot by itself, but usually we try to stay contiguous to an area that's similar to it. In this case, the only thing in its favor is you have high residential across the street, and this is a step down into intermediate, and that standard usually happens in these type of deals. Let's step it down as we go further away.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get your lower densities farther out. Or if you get into an area where you have a high amount of commercial, then you want to do the same thing coming from commercial into a medium or high resident, and then work your way down into the low as you get farther away.
Okay, any other questions for staff? Okay, we'll go ahead and open our public hearing. Again, the same rules that we followed before. State your name and address. And we'll hear from those in favor, then those neutral, and then those opposed. Again, we ask that you keep your comment respectful, and we'll time you so that it's not over 3 minutes, because we probably will have a lot. We did receive a lot of written correspondence. So if you gave us written correspondence, we have already read that, and we'd appreciate it if you wouldn't go ahead and speak again. Okay, we will go ahead and open the public hearing, and first we'll hear from anyone who is in favor of this proposal.
Guess I'll go first. Blake Walker. I reside at 457 Stogemire Lane. I assume it's only appropriate to speak on the comprehensive plan change right now and not the zone
Yeah,
change, correct?
that's what we're doing.
I guess most of my notes apply more to the zone change that is happening after this meeting. However, just a thought I have is that the community would do well to look for infill buffers to go between higher residential and lower residential. I know that buffer zones provide good planning. So I'm for the change in the comprehensive plan for reasons that I'll go into further later on in this meeting. But thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else who would like to speak in favor?
Chair and Commissioners, thank you for your time this evening. My name is Mikkel Mortensen. I reside at 1661 West, 5000 South here in Rexburg. I'm an employee of Southport Design, and I've been working with Mr. Loya to develop the ideas surrounding this project. Once again, a lot of my notes have to do with the zone change that we'll be discussing after this. But as far as the change in comprehensive plan, we're requesting a change from low residential to intermediate residential. This change will begin to create a much needed buffer zone in that location. The property is currently bordering the high residential and low residential areas. And in this location, the integration of intermediate zones is needed to create a natural transition from zone to zone and to reduce the overall sprawl. Changes such as the one we're requesting are essential infill projects in every growing community. Such projects strengthen communities by adding housing where infrastructure and services already exist, like the elementary school and the park that's just north. This specific change will turn 4 underused parcels into a well-designed, productive place that will support the neighborhood stability. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else who would like to speak in favor? We've got a couple more signed up, but have they changed their mind? Oh, okay, anyone else, anyone who would like to speak neutral to the proposal?
Greg Newkirk, 975 Westwood Drive in Rexburg. I can understand why a subdivision neighborhood like this would be quite put out by this type of development. However, the reality of it is the way the lots are configured, the way they're facing, the total environment in there, that there really is no future for this lot in the zone and in the comprehensive plan designation that it currently has. The market was just not there. It'll probably remain as if it doesn't change, it'll probably remain as it is. Probably not a lot of money get put in. It's just going to become a problem. And so even though it's not a pleasant situation, it really needs to move up to something that would be acceptable to the market. And I think it would fit in, but still creates kind of a bad taste in your mouth. But I think it's better than the alternative of just leaving it as it is, because it's just someone's hope that it'll conform to what's existing around it. But it's really not part of it, the way that's situated, the way it's accessed. It's just really not part of that neighborhood, even though it's physically inserted into it. So I think it's a bitter pill, but something should be done. And this may be it. I don't know. That's why I'm neutral on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else neutral to the proposal? Okay, seeing none. Anyone who is against this proposal?
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Marianne Mouse, and I live at 538 Henderson Street. The property is directly behind and to the east of my house. I'm here tonight to speak in opposition to the proposed amendment to the comprehensive plan regarding this property at 204 South, 5th West. I would like to share a few of my most pressing concerns, but I would also, to begin with, like to disagree respectfully with what's been said about the need of a buffer zone from, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, Alan, and the people that spoke. I will full disclosure, I am a city planner. I was served on this commission for 18 years. I was a part of 2 comprehensive plans, and I wrote comprehensive plans for the state of Utah. So I understand more than the average person about the need for buffer zones. But what I understand more is the importance of sticking with your comprehensive plans. So our neighborhood was established and purchased under the promise of a comprehensive plan as a low-density residential area, and this continues to be the fundamental character of our neighborhood. Moving to a higher density represents a shift that is inconsistent with the existing scale of our homes and the relatively quiet nature of our streets. And being a person that would conceivably be the most affected by this change, I have some definite concerns. As an accredited city planner, I may have a somewhat, as I said, unique understanding of this, but a comprehensive plan is meant to provide predictability for residents. And when I picked my lot to build on, I would never have picked it without this designation. Changing it for a single individual undermines the trust we place in the city's long-term vision and is in fact one of the most contentious issues in local urban planning throughout the country. It often pits the long-term vision of a city against the immediate economic desires of a developer and the concerns of existing residents. Amending the comprehensive plan is a much more serious step than a simple zoning variance. The plan is supposed to represent a community consensus. Changing it for one person can signal that the plan isn't actually a plan, but a list of suggestions available to the highest bidder. Once you grant a special favor to one developer, it becomes very difficult to deny the next person who asks for a similar change. I am not against growth in this city, but it must be directed to appropriate corridors where the infrastructure and safety systems exist to support it, not dropped into an established low-density neighborhood. Rather, they are intended as a vision statement that should last for 10 to 20 years. And because of this, the criteria that can justify a comprehensive plan change is very specific for a reason, not just somebody who purchases a piece of property knowing full well when he purchased it what was allowed. Now, if the Tixons had come in here who owned that property and said, we've been left with a piece of property that we can't develop, that would be one thing. But that is not what happened here. Mr. Loya, who I respect and like, knew full well what this property allowed when he purchased it.
3 minutes.
Thank you, Maria.
Okay, I have much.
You can't.
I can't do that.
No, but you're welcome to get up and speak.
Or better spoken. The Supreme Court tells me that when you make that request, I can legally deny it. So I'm going to just.
Can I submit it?
Like letting, okay. All right. Again. Sure. Yes, you bet. Thank you.
She did an awesome job. Cleve Young, 568 Cook Street. 3 minutes is not near enough time, as you can see, to see everything that's wrong with this proposal. I agree 100% with what she said, and I won't get into the how we have been, I don't want to use the word lied to, but there is a development across the street to the east that was we were promised many things that have not happened. We were told that would be a 2-story facility. It's a 3-story. We were told that old building would be made very, very nice. Well, a coat of brown paint on cinder block doesn't really help that out a whole bunch. We've been told things. We told there would be a buffer to help along the road. We never saw that. So I don't know. I think the whole thing from them and now to this, I don't know what we can trust or believe. It's a single family residential area, and dropping in this, however many units are going to put, just, it was a comprehensive plan, just like Mrs. Mount said, that we thought we were getting into single family homes. And I don't know if this is part of the comprehensive plan, but we are jeopardizing America's families, communities' most precious asset, the children. Has anybody noticed how many children go by there to school, to go to Park Street Park, that go to the splash zone? And and I don't even know, is there an egress or an ingress plan for this property?
We're only doing the
We're only doing
comprehensive plan.
comprehensive.
It doesn't matter where you put it. If you put it onto Henderson, that is a one-way street and everybody's going to go around that loop, make a U-turn at a stop sign that nobody but old men like me and kids with driver's licenses permits stop at. Number two, you can't even get onto Fifth West coming west from Second South and turn left because there's so many cars parked in front of the mayor's business. You can't see to get around the corner. It's already a hazard. You're going to put another egress point at that, already a bottleneck. And I know they talked about the traffic is worse from the schools on that. That's true. There's no doubt about that. But people now cut through on that Fifth West because it's easier than going all the way through town. So it is becoming a busy street. And I'm sure there hasn't been a traffic study plan since Mr. Summer gave us his bogus one a few years ago. So have you ever gone out and you needed a tool and you say, I don't know if I've got room for that in my garage, but I'm going to make it work. And so you go out and you buy it, and sure enough, you buy a table saw and you put it in your garage and it's in the way. It can't get to other things and it's just out of place. It looks like a mess. That's exactly what this is doing, is it's putting a bunch of houses in a place that doesn't belong, and you're just going to have a mess. Thank you.
My name is Isaac Allred, and I live at 556 Cook Street. I have 4 children under the age of 9, and we walk every day to Kennedy Elementary School along Henderson Street up to Fifth West. So my wife and I and our 4 children actually walk that corridor multiple times a day to and from Kennedy. We also, if it's not a school day, we're walking to Park Street Park or even using that corridor. And so my biggest concern is safety, just because if there are ingresses and outgresses, I already am concerned about my children ages 4 from 7 to 0, more or less. They're my children. I'm trying to teach them to look left and right, but I can't guarantee that drivers of vehicles will also be looking out for my small children. So that's my biggest concern.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Michael Scannell. I live at 521 Park Street. If you look at the zoning, the house with the white roof right above it, that's mine. And in the backyard, the majority of the year, you'll have my 3 small kids playing back there all the time. One of the things that we love about our property is that property being nothing. And I have zero plans of ever leaving here. This is a house we plan on being in forever. And I have no problem with it remaining that way forever because of the privacy and the security it makes us feel. When I saw this, the intention of changing this, my wife and I immediately went into a very uncomfortable feeling of this is something we are very unokay with. We have no idea, are these going to be 2 stories? Are they going to be looking right into our backyard? Who's going to be living there? There's so many things we are so uncomfortable with. And among other things, I mean, that's a lot of land to absorb a lot of water as well. When we do get a lot of rain, having a lot of buildings there, this is already a floodplain. That just increases our risk of flooding. And that's a whole other thing I didn't think about until I was driving here. But my main concern also, like some of the other people's, is our children. That's my backyard essentially. And right now we have security, privacy, and comfort, and this would completely rip that away from us. So I'm very, very, very against this. And if I have any say, it's no way, Jose. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioners, my name is Amy Elison. I live at 225 Pollard Avenue. My property runs right up against this property. It's set back, so it's surrounded by single-family homes, literally surrounded. This isn't just like a curb property. It's back in. It has single-family homes surrounding it, and I am one of them. The Rexburg Comprehensive Plan was set for a reason. It dictates single-family homes for this location. What I just would ask, what is the point of a comprehensive plan and these zoning assignments if we just change them for whoever wants to make more money? The developer can still build single-family homes on this property without changing the comprehensive plan. And changing the plan to accommodate this single individual is an unjustified exception benefiting a single developer financially. There are other homeowners who currently possess more than one plot of land in the surrounding neighborhoods. If we're going to allow a comp plan change for this, for one developer to make more money, I would assert that this sets a dangerous precedent, even an incentive that's harmful to the stability of the neighborhood long term. Changing the comprehensive plan is in this way is going to erode the fabric of what makes our neighborhood quiet and attractive to stable families that are the heart of this community. This is how I see it. Zoning essentially acts as a contract between the city and the homeowner. That's what the comprehensive plan dictates. Zoning ensures that a buyer knows exactly what can and cannot be built next door. This predictably reduces the risk of property value drops caused by incompatible nearby uses. We all bought our homes in a single family zone, and we were in effect paying a premium for the guarantee that incongruent building would not be erected next door. And now that's literally what's happening. And that feels like a violation of a contract that we had with the city. If this passes, many of us will now be in a position that if we need to sell our homes, people will seek comparable properties over ours, ones that don't have townhouses pressing in over the backyard or towering nearby. Buyers will seek properties without the visual obstructions, light, noise, et cetera, of higher density. Changing the comprehensive plan unfairly affects many of our property values in favor of a single developer's pocketbook. I'd like for you to ask yourselves this, each of you. If there were a proposal literally in your very backyard to change the comprehensive plan to increase the zoning right up against your property, would you want it? Do you want higher density housing in your very backyards? Because that's exactly what's happening to a whole bunch of us here. And I would bet if you were in my shoes and a lot of other people's shoes here, you would not want it. And the community's shown up tonight to tell you that they don't want it either. It feels like this comes down to whether profits are more important or the integrity of a neighborhood. Please honor the comprehensive plan and the existing zoning that all of the rest of us abide. Do not change the zoning to benefit a developer's pocketbook over a neighborhood's interests. Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak against?
Find myself in a very unique situation of standing on this side of the microphone for the first time.
You got
My
3
name
minutes.
my name is Steven Zollinger. I live at 707 Engelman, which isn't far removed from this. And I'm going to give a less personal and more objective perspective of why this shouldn't be allowed. 25 years ago, this was fields. I built my subdivision that I live in starting in 1999. And Bill Henderson started developing this property in around 2000, 2001. It was a time when the city was going through a great transition, which we're now celebrating the 25th anniversary of. And it was determined by the city, and without sounding somewhat arrogant, I would have to say really smart people working for the city, that we needed to draw a line. That line was drawn on 5th West. The HDR that's across the street replaced an industrial use that was bumping up against single-family residences. Starlight Edition existed and was not going away. It wasn't a shrinking neighborhood. It was a thriving neighborhood. Bill put this subdivision in, and it immediately began to fill, as did the one I built. There are no lack of resources that have been deployed in these two subdivisions that should send the message to you as a planning and zoning that the comprehensive plan was right. Single family housing from Fifth West to the west is a great line and it should be honored. There are other subdivisions in town. I built a second subdivision on Second North where I tore down two houses. And and stuck 15 houses back in there in a low density residential too, by simply creating a comprehensive plan of my own that the community bought into and has endorsed. This is not property that becomes useless. This is not property that becomes wasted. This is property that was purchased by a knowing individual with two houses on it, which he can now choose to keep and try to manage the property behind them, or he can tear them down as I did and build a more rational development of low density residential too that will fit more homes. There's no reason whatsoever that the city of Rexburg should abandon Fifth West as the final line and allow the incursion of these higher density type developments west of Fifth West. Thanks.
Anyone else who would like to speak against? Okay, all right. Okay, seeing no more testimony from the public, would the applicant like to give rebuttal at this time? Where did she go?
No.
No.
No, okay, all right. Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and we will have our discussion. And I'd kind of like to begin this. Mr. Zollinger covered several points that I would like to that I also had written down. In my mind, the road is a buffer between the two densities. And the other point that I have is it doesn't have to be, single family homes. There's a couple of other things allowed in the residential. You can have duplexes like on the other side of Henderson. There's a couple of those and they're very nice. Again, Stephen, we've gone through another comprehensive plan since that time and we did leave it residential. And I personally can't see any reason why that should be changed. I think it's not spot zoning, but spot comprehensive plan changing. So,
Hey,
so I'm against this.
Chairman, would you mind telling us, in the written stuff that we got, how many were
Yeah, there
for
were
and against? I mean, I've read through all those, but just the numbers for
for
people to hear.
There were 47 letters sent out. We got back 12 letters from people who were opposed and 6 who were in favor. So, and again, we appreciate that your comments were kept to the time limit and that they were all very respectful and you didn't repeat. So we do appreciate the public.
And can we make a comment? Those who were for this don't live in Henderson or anywhere near. So,
That's
so those who were for aren't part of the neighborhood. So that does make a difference.
Yes. Okay. All right.
I've always got a comment. I mean, as this commission knows, I'm very pro-development. Matter of fact, I've been an applicant to change the comp plan, but my litmus test on this very sensitive item is it's one thing to change the comp plan on a farmer's field. It's another thing to change comprehensive plan on the built environment. And that's what we're talking about tonight. And I don't think this passes the muster on that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Also, the comment about it being such a small piece in a bigger section, I just don't know that it fits to change it there.
It does concern me that we cross a line.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel right.
What is there right now?
Single family.
Is this Jerome Barrick's property? I'm going way back.
It's across the street, still on the west side.
It's on the west.
Gordon Dixon's house.
Yeah, Gordon Dixon's house. So.
I'll just agree with what's been said with the commissioners. I see the street there. That's a street that could grow wider, and because it could become something that's used even further north. And I see that's a buffer between that and what's across the street. That doesn't, to me, in my mind, that doesn't make us have to start infiltrating this other side to create something where there's already houses there. When I looked at it, if I were looking at it as a zone, I'd be like, that is a spot zone because it just changes that one little spot. But as the comprehensive plan, it would create that problem. And so I'm.
And so again, and this is just to remind and kind of reframe on the law of comprehensive plan. So Ms. Smith stated kind of a spot zone version of comprehensive. So again, in making a determination to change or not change a comprehensive plan, it would be consistent or inconsistent with plan goals, future conditions, or future objectives of the comprehensive plan. So again, didn't meet muster is the equivalent of spot zoning in there. Again, we have a comprehensive plan that would either be consistent or inconsistent with those goals, objectives, or desired future conditions.
Okay.
Spencer,
So, go ahead.
Can I ask, because we've changed the comp plan before, and I think we've acknowledged, oh, we got it wrong in this area. And we were able to kind of see the path forward. So in this scenario, okay, so you were basically saying, I'm hearing you. Okay.
So again, there is, again, not to pull us too far into even the last applicant or anything. Anybody who watched city council after this commission talked about some of the desired conditions or undesired conditions of a comprehensive plan. And then one of the council members, it was council member Erickson, stated, it feels like there were things that they talked about that aren't necessarily applicable. Again, when you are creating a comprehensive plan, is it 17 or 19? Too many to remember. Things that 17 different items you consider in the creation of that comprehensive plan. And so when this body or anybody looks to amend a comprehensive plan, you can pull in, again, a wide variety of some of those impacts and those things that you considered in creation of the comprehensive plan. And so I do typically permit or don't stand up and, or as Vince would know, I just scream at Vince, but I would be more subtle with you guys. In that discussion of a comprehensive zone change or comprehensive plan change, there is a little bit more discretion giving and leeway given into the type of the things that can be discussed in that change. Now, again, when we get into zone changes, it's more particular. Your focus would narrow specifically on that. Does that answer your question, Aaron, a little bit?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a few comments. So I'm on Third West, and when I bought my house several years ago, 7 years ago now, 8 years ago now, it was all single family residential, and now I'm backed up against Sundance. And so in the time period I've had it, the comp plan's already changed and it's all moved high density residential. And so I don't know when that's planning on changing on that progress of high density residential. Also, I've had several people talk about kids and families. With the increase of property value, the only way that a family can afford a home in this area, especially if they're a young family, is if you introduce more higher density, cheaper houses. Because the average single family home here is over $400,000. The average person living here is only making 60 to 80,000, which puts them 100,000 under what they need to make to afford a home. That being said, I'm not really seeing the vision of changing just this. It's too focused for me. So I'm for the idea of cheaper, affordable housing, but this proposal seems too hyper-focused. if that makes sense. So that's my general thought on what's going on.
That's really well said. You captured something I wasn't able to verbalize. If we were talking about the entire corridor, I would actually be in more support of doing a step down corridor than doing this one spot.
Yeah, I'll just comment. I think in resonant with that, change is possible, and I'm not opposed to growth. And sometimes we need change, but there's a mechanism to bring about that change. And I think in a comprehensive plan discussion, which was had recently, the decision was made to keep this as low residential. If we were discussing the whole corridor and saying, does this make sense? I agree. It's a more, but there's a mechanism for making those changes, and this is not, to me, doesn't pass the litmus test for changing comprehensive plan in this case. So that's where I'm standing. So.
Alan, do you happen to know the acreage of this?
I believe it's 1.68.
How much?
Like that, 1.68.
Okay, so would only accommodate one residence.
Oh, it could be subdivided to
If you
10.
if you follow through with their request for it, it could be as many as 16 units if they could make it work.
Single family?
No,
The townhomes, it would be single family attached.
well, apartments or.
Wouldn't be apartments. It would have to be townhome, twin home, duplex, or single family. That's the only thing allowed.
So question for you though, if using the comp plan as existed, could they go LDR two and then still?
They're at LDR2 right now is what is
Yeah.
available.
Okay.
If you go to the intermediate, then they can do LDR3, MDR1, or MDR2. Those are the three ones that
So
request.
okay, so they're already to where they can do 6 units per acre.
Correct.
Okay.
If it's LDR2.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Is if they can go up to LDR2 in the current comprehensive
Yes,
plan.
then they could do 6 per.
So they still have the ability to flip the property and turn it into more units. They just want the ability to do even more.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
And I don't, yeah, I don't know. Not for that.
Okay, all right. Are we ready for a motion? We've all spoken.
I'll happy to make a motion. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll move that we recommend to City Council to deny this comprehensive plan request on the basis of the fact that it appears to be a spot change and the fact that Fifth West has been long a boundary that is a barrier or a boundary between higher residential and low residential, and that we want to keep it that way as per the recent comprehensive plan change and discussion.
Second your motion.
Hold on 1 second, just again, to realign kind of the legal out. So we talked about spot zoning goes with a zone change. And so the legal equivalent to a spot change to that is it would be inconsistent with the comprehensive plan goals, objectives, future desires, conditions, however it is. But again, just that phrase, I don't want anybody to review the record and hear spot change and think, man, they didn't even know what they were doing, because I know you all do. And I just want to make sure that's reflected on the record.
Thank you, Spencer.
Okay.
So amended.
Do we want to amend that and strike that
Or
from?
Katie, do you want to read what you've got then?
You want it with Spencer's recommendation?
Please.
Without Spencer's
Yes,
recommendation?
with.
With, please.
Spencer's recommendation, the motion would be to recommend that city council deny the comprehensive plan change request for this property because it is inconsistent with the comprehensive plan goals. And Fifth West is a longtime buffer between the higher residential and lower residential areas. And based on the last comprehensive plan discussion, seems to be the way it should.
I think that's exactly what you said.
Does that capture it?
That's close enough.
And again, just so the record reflects, Spencer's recommendation had nothing to do with approval or denial. I get paid a respectable wage either way. It is only if it is, again, the legal framework in which, again, we know what you meant to say.
Let's
Again,
have it that way.
I am, like I said, we run a tight ship, or at least try to.
Okay, and so we have a second to that, correct?
I
Okay.
second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Everybody happy with that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, That will be our recommendation then to.
Okay, with that, that avoids the next one. So the zone one won't even be presented because without the comprehensive change, they cannot even ask for that in that motion. So that
Okay,
will end this one.
while we kind of switch around a little bit, let's take just a 5-minute break.
Hey, we're waiting
And-
for the pizza that you guys.
I just, before everybody leaves, thank you for
Thank you for
coming
coming.
and being here and participating and
I think you need a
being
motion
respectful.
to take a recess.
It's a pleasure when it goes the way that it does today with you guys keeping within the guidelines. Thank you.
Okay. Katie, I'm going to make a motion that we take a 5-minute recess. Okay,
I'll second it.
all in favor? Aye. Kind of good.
Especially for those born channel Jews.
Hey, that's the right, yeah. I think this one is, but it does. Yeah, so it was good. Good to see you.
I'm recommending you to replace me in 9 months. Oh.
It's very easy. Very low bar.
Oh, you're Providence Square?
Oh, this is the next cruise here. Wait, the next. Close the water. Yeah. Lovely night. This- We are good. I think we are free. The property.
Yeah, that's just makes it. Sorry about that. I'm just reading.
Where is 801?
801. This, it's, right behind the lead, right? Right there, that's it, right there. So. It's below. It's the very bottom.
Oh, that-
It's like just off the picture. Just off the picture. That's a little bit, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think I lost. There was a.
My phone number is 390.
So.
Okay, I'm. I started out as a.
I just want to say.
An hour was all I had.
So now I have.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
It's great.
Yeah, you guys starting your own business. I love it.
And they're like, oh, they're already. This is really good.
Yeah. Barry has set up his own team.
Yeah.
It's like, out of
Yeah.
I'm doing this.
And you know what they've been instructed, they can.
He's good. When I get
Big
plans to review something.
He's talking to Tam.
Okay.
I don't think he'll be here. I feel like that was far more.
It's like, yeah, like this, right.
Where's this at? Yeah, well, they were. Main areas.
That's all good. Yeah, it's good to see you.
It's gonna be more gray area.
So simple.
Jahawi.
So Scott. So now that you're in. Back to there and you feel that, right? Because they've already put me somewhere and I'm in there doing their.
We're never doing
Yeah, I just wish we would see.
Yeah, they stop with
Some sort of action on their.
That's good.
Oh, good. Other 3-4 years, it's been like that. Down, down, low.
Right.
Okay, can we get everybody back in your seat and let's go ahead and.
I don't know how you pay for it. After the pennies time. Well, they've already got so much.
Everybody gets talking.
Building permits, it's getting pretty expensive.
I don't know where you went.
What time? That's the wrong time.
Yeah, it is. We're actually doing quite well. 7:49. There he is.
Which one do we have next? Okay.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move along on our agenda. Got everyone back here, I think. Are we ready? Okay. You ready? Okay. This is a public hearing. Loveland Development, a comp plan change from commercial and intermediate residential to I can't say it, to commercial and intermediate residential. And so it's kind of confusing to read, but Alan will set us straight on that. Okay.
Okay, to orient you, thank you, Chairwoman. This is the property we're talking about right here. There's approximately 42 acres involved. This house is not included, but this one is. This corner is not included in this application. The posting looks a little weird because it says commercial to intermediate and commercial to intermediate. What you have to realize is they're not looking to increase the comprehensive like into a higher density or anything else. All they want to do is shift some of these boundaries around that would fit better towards their development. So we're not looking at anything that's not going to be already available to them currently. It's just to make it fit the plan. So I had to show you that we're doing commercial intermediate. The whole thing is we're just changing the boundaries of where those sit. So this is the current comprehensive plan of what you're looking at. I can get to the one that shows us. Oh, I don't know if we have the in that one. Okay. Katie has to keep me in line. So this is what the proposal is being brought to you. And the other thing to realize is the acreage for each of these is staying the same. I mean, they're off a teeny bit, but not very much. So it's not like I'm putting more acreage of commercial in or more acreage of intermediate. Those are staying the same. It's just shifting those. So staff has reviewed this. We have looked at it. We believe this fits well. You're dealing with public facilities to the west of it, school zone, everything else. You're looking at commercial to the south of this. You have the well drilling company. You have RMS Motorsports. You have the gas station there, Double H Gas. So we're seeing a lot of this happening in this area. They're trying to keep the residential up on the northern part so that it buffers into residential, lower residential in that situation. And the idea behind that is again, when you have commercial in one spot, you want to start stepping that down. Now, intermediate, as was stated earlier, they can ask for LDR3, they can ask for MDR1, and they can ask for MDR2. Those are the three that would be allowed, and they're currently already allowed in that area to be asked for. So, questions from you guys?
Okay, you just said this, but say it once again, what it's surrounded by. So it's not changing what it's against. What's to each direction?
Okay, you have low residential here, you have public facilities, which is your high school. You have commercial here, which is the well drilling company, Marcus Franson. You have RMS, you have Barry Oil, and then you have Double H Gas. You also have commercial going in here. You have all of those going along there. One of the other issues that we're looking at, and this is future, I don't know how far in the future, but 7 South on this end our goal is to make that so it goes up and over there. And we have an overpass that will get us so we have transportation that gets them across there.
Is that going to be part of that federal grant to study up?
Well, we got denied the grant. They actually finally pulled it, but we are reapplying and trying to get back on that to do that.
Would that grant include this?
This is our primary one that we would target.
This is the primary one. The northern one is secondary.
The Moody would be second.
Moody, thank you.
Yeah. But this would be the primary one that we would ask to be built just because of what's happening out in this area of the city.
Did I give a time frame?
No.
No.
It's one of those that once you get the money to do the study, then you apply every year for the grants to do that. This one could be very expensive.
Oh, yeah.
For the simple fact, this is rated as a high clearance freeway. So I think you have to have a 15-foot clearance, or you have to have off and on ramps so they can go up and over to get around it. This will not have off and on ramps. It will strictly be a crossover. Yeah. So it's a question of, do we take 7th clear up and over, or do we take the freeway up and over 7th? And that would be determined in the study. But those are some of the things that would happen in this area.
Pretty sure Seventh would cost less.
No, because you're gonna end up buying up homes to do this.
Oh, on the condemnation.
Yeah, because if you go up and over, you're gonna have such a width there that it would affect that.
That's true.
But that is some of the things we do in our comprehensive plan as we look at the transportation, what's coming down the road. And so we've already addressed those future issues. And this is one of those that would be number one on our list. Other transportation, currently University Boulevard stops right here at the end of the high school. The county is in the process. They were going to try to put it in 25, but they are going to connect from the high school to 3000 to the west, which would help relieve some of the pressure on 12th. So that's one of them that we're working on also. They're hoping to get that in and paved in 26.
Just real quick, the overpass at 7th South, that's part of our transportation plan.
It is.
It's in there.
Yes.
Okay.
So's Moody, so's Pole Line, all three of those are in our plan. Okay. But as our master plan, we have highlighted this one as our number one concern with those three overpasses.
And I want to make sure that I understood this correctly. So with the change that we're trying to make, we're not changing the amount in this area. So everything could potentially be built the way they wanted to. This will fit easier for them to do what their project they have planned.
It makes it a more viable project by doing this, but yes,
okay.
The acreage is staying the same within each designation. They're just shifting where those are at. And I think I showed you.
House on the corner.
What's that?
That ship house is it on the corner?
That's further north.
No, that's
the
not.
golf course. No,
This is across from the high school.
Yeah, this is that's further north.
Yeah, this is
It's on the corner of 7th.
this right here, this house. It's a house.
It's a home.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, I do believe it was owned by the Hineses. And when they passed away, then it was sold. Yeah. Other questions?
Okay, any more questions? Okay, we will go ahead and open the public hearing, and that'll go as it has before. I'll have you come forward, state your name and address, and keep your time to the 3 minutes. So we'll go ahead and open that public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold on, the applicant would like to.
Oh,
add a
okay,
little
I'm
bit.
sorry.
Okay.
We haven't done.
He just decided.
Okay, thank you. We'd love to hear from you. Okay.
Oh, thanks. Caden Furman with Eagle Rock Engineering, Idaho Falls, or 1331 Fremont Avenue, Idaho Falls, Idaho. I just want to add a little bit. Alan did a great job presenting and basically giving an overview. But for the record, there is a little bit of a shift in acreage. There's about a three acre shift from there's 3 acres less of residential, 3 acres more of commercial. And just like you said, the intent is to put the commercial along the main arterial road on 12th, and then the visibility along the highway for the commercial, just for visibility purposes, and then keep the residential so it does have a good step down from the commercial as it goes north to those larger lots in the single family residence. So anyway, that's all I wanted to add. I just want to clarify.
Thank you.
Is there any questions?
Thank you for clarifying. Any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, all right. Now we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. So anyone who would like to come forward and speak in favor of this proposal, we'll hear from you now. Okay, anyone who's neutral to the proposal?
I'm the youngest, so I get up first. My name is Vince Haley, 2309 West 960 South here in Rexburg. Alan didn't touch on it, but I think it's worth noting that 7th South from the Meadows clear to city boundaries on the other side of Summerfield will be done this summer. Originally, just the section from 12th West to the highway was scheduled for 26. The rest was scheduled for 27. But I got on the map today to see Keith's plans, and he's rechanged that. So that whole section's going to be redone this year. Asphalt, curb gutter. I think they'll probably, well, that's what I'm going to add because I don't know their full plans. Which that, yes, 7th South from the Meadows entrance clear to the end of Summerfield will all be redone along Burton Elementary. Yep. Which that intersection alone presents a lot of challenges at the 7:30 to 8:30 clock time. Outside of that, it's really not much of a problem. And those are my comments from earlier of that 1 hour is the traffic problem in my mind, if there was one. You know, and you look at development close to highways, close to interchanges, but also close to where I live, neighborhoods, some very nice parcels in that area. That's why I'm neutral. I'm not neither for or against this. I see the need for it to be close to an interchange, close to a highway. Do I love it against a residential like this? No, but it is what it is in this instance. And if we're going to develop an area that's close to a highway, close to an interchange, I think this one fits in this situation better than it could in other situations.
Go ahead. There is someone else, sorry.
I actually wanted to ask for a clarification because on the letter that we received, I live at 642 Blue Willow Circle, which is just above us, Kelly McCoy. And the letter that we received had two proposals. One of the proposals had housing buffer zone, like a low density housing buffer zone on 7th South, just south of 7th South there. And then there was this one that was proposed here. I'm just curious why there was no discussion about the other proposal that had the low density housing. Huh?
That's the next agenda.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, this is only comprehensive plan change that we're talking about now, not zoning.
Greg Newkirk, 975 Westwood Drive. The particular way that the comprehensive plan and also the zoning is laid out gives me a lot of heartburn. There is a solution, a resolution. However, during the comp plan portion of it, this is not the place to discuss the mechanics of how to resolve what I perceive as heartburn, or to even get into the technicalities of why I'm having heartburn over the way that the zoning is configured. I just want to note that now, and I'll come back up and testify again during the zoning.
Thank you.
I'm not against it. I just have a concern.
Okay. Anyone else who would like to speak neutral to the proposal?
Scott Burton, 747 South, 2470 West. I'm neutral on this, but I just want to appreciate the discussion about the master traffic plan going forward. That's come up already tonight, that there are concerns about the traffic over here. And so I appreciate the conversation of that, and hope that we'll continue to keep that in mind with all the things going on 12th West.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak neutral? Okay, anyone who would like to speak against this proposal?
John Paul Johnson, 2412 West 880 South. I actually appreciate that there's less of the intermediate residential in this proposed change. And I was kind of on the fence between neutral and against. The only reason I'm against it is with the grant falling through, the Reconnecting Communities grant, I don't see the 7th South overpass happening anytime soon, like even in 10 years. So I just wish that there was even less intermediate residential. That's all I'll say for now.
Okay, anyone else who would like to speak against?
I'm like John, I'm kind of between neutral and against, but my concern is mainly the process. My name is Brent Harris. I live at 1125 Woodison Lane here in Rexburg. As we all know, one of the duties of the Planning and Zoning Commission is to make recommendations to the City Council concerning amendments to the comprehensive plan. On page 2 of the comprehensive plan, it states, and I quote, "When considering an amendment, decision makers should ask themselves, have conditions changed so that the plan no longer reflects the development patterns as stated in the future land use map or current goals as stated in the implementation chapter? If this question cannot be answered affirmatively, any amendment should be considered with caution." Also, as part of considering an amendment, and this is not out of the comprehensive plan, as considering an amendment to the comprehensive plan, the impacts of the change on such things as traffic, water usage, capacity of the wastewater treatment plan, well-being of citizens adjacent to the property, etc., should be considered. Unfortunately, I do not believe that much of this information concerning impacts of this proposed amendment is currently available. Making uninformed decisions is not proper planning. This process is often rationalized by saying that the city staff will evaluate these issues later after the comprehensive plan amendment is approved or zoning change is approved. That does not seem wise or logical. Even if the city staff ultimately denies the proposed development, the change to the comprehensive plan or zoning change would already be in place. As a minimum, preliminary impact evaluations should have been conducted and the information made available to the commission and to the public prior to the hearing and the commission making a decision. I have observed at city council meetings many times that prior to the council voting on a financial issue, the city chief financial officer presents what the impacts of their decision will be on items such as the budget, taxes, utility rates, etc. Council members usually ask questions, and if the impacts are not sufficiently known, they would probably postpone making a decision until that information is available. That process seems logical and should also be followed in making land use decisions for the city. In conclusion, I recommend that you postpone any decision on this proposed amendment to the comprehensive plan until you have a reasonable idea of what the potential impacts of the amendment will be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak against the proposal?
Good evening. I'm Desiree Diaz, and bear with me. This is the first time I've ever attended one of these. But the reason I'm here is because I live at 691 South 12th West, right across from where they're wanting that other corner. And my concern is what I was mailed doesn't look like what was shown here. Because what went off in my head was what I saw right across the street from me was this strip of commercial. And I was like, is that going to be at the back of a strip mall? Is it, what's it? Because that street is, see where it says intermediate residential up there at the top, it said commercial right there where your arrow is.
That was prior to, that's what the existing one is. This is the proposed one here.
Okay.
Yes.
Like I said, this is real new to me. But one of my concerns is the traffic there. So see, even though how you have intermediate residential, are they gonna be turning down Seventh Street to get into that residential? Because you can't hardly pass two cars there. I mean, it's very narrow. And the apartments over there on Sunflower, it was mentioned earlier about another place about a second exit. There is no second exit there. Everyone has to, all those apartments, like if there was a fire, they'd all be like running through my yard. So that's my concern. I don't know. Thank you.
We'll ask him. Okay. Anyone else who would like to speak against the proposal?
Could I take 30 more seconds? I just forgot to say one thing. Spencer?
No.
You're on a short leash, John.
Okay. Yeah, the one thing I wanted to say is 20 acres of intermediate residential, if it's built out to the max, is 400 housing units. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Anyone else who would like to speak?
I missed that. You want a stool?
I'm Cheryl.
You're used to it.
I can play with that. My name's Cheryl Empey and I live at 226 Jill Drive in Henderson. And one thing that I was wondering is the comprehensive plan actually has like an angle there. Is that a waterway? Is there a reason there was like it was made that way? Because otherwise you have kind of that's just a clarification that I needed to know.
I think it's just that it's parallel with the highway.
They just put it parallel with the highway? Okay.
All right. Anyone else who would like to speak against the proposal? Now, are we sure? Okay. 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 Okay, Mr. Furman, would you like to have some rebuttal here?
I guess I don't have too much to add, other than at the comp plan, I guess step of the comp plan amendment, changing the comp plan doesn't add or detract any traffic whatsoever. I mean, we do understand that there's definitely concerns of traffic on both 12th and 7th, and quite frankly, anything north of University and west of the highway is troublesome. But going through the due diligence, obviously comp plan amendments first, and then a possible rezone, and then after that, there are multiple studies that will have to be performed just for Brent's concerns. Yes, the comp plan amendment could be changed, and the rezones could happen, and those could be established at that point. But I mean, the city engineers, they do their due diligence and want the best for the community, and we do have to provide all sorts of testing and reports and studies to ensure that the impacts that are being added to whatever they're doing, whether it's 7th, 12th, university, whatever, the developer has to shoulder all those impacts and ensure that the impacts aren't spread out through the existing homeowners and stuff. So anyway, that's the only thing I have to add. So.
Right. Thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Alan, Tammy and I have a question here. Okay, so on this, this is what they're proposing.
Correct.
So this was what it was before then?
Correct. And you can see the underline, it still has the old, you can see that angle in there. So that's the existing, but then you see the lines drawn that shows
The hash is proposed.
So we were just confused because this is what we're seeing in this.
So here's the question I have. Whoever it was that came up and said that they saw at the top, it said commercial.
It's not.
That's the wrong thing sent out. And if that information was a notice that was sent out incorrectly, we can't continue until we have that. We just have to make sure it was correct. Because if it was,
I think they're talking about the next proposal where we do the zone change.
Well, but on this.
well, even with the second proposal, it still maintains. Will you go back to that, Alan?
Just a
This is
second.
the one for the comprehensive.
I'm pulling up.
He's
the
gonna pull
mailing.
up the mailer.
Okay, so this will show us the mailer that's sent out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because if it was misunderstood, that's one thing, but if it actually said the wrong thing, then,
Did not. It does say,
LDR3.
yeah, he just showed me.
This was what was sent.
it said LDR3.
It's on this.
My imagination probably went.
But we're doing.
Okay,
With this.
we just want to make sure because we need to legally make sure it's
Right,
clarified,
yeah.
right? Okay.
So here's the actual mailing for the comprehensive.
Okay,
change.
all right, so it's different than, all right.
And the thing that was shown before then is what it is currently.
Yeah, that's it.
Well,
Okay.
it's
Right.
That's showing you
the correct-
proposed. This is what shows, it has the underline of where it exists, and then they've drawn those line in to show you what they're
Proposed.
proposing.
But this is what the residents,
That's,
this is what the residents actually saw.
no.
No, they saw the black and white that we just looked at.
That's what
right
they
there.
thought.
The summary
Right
staff
there.
report that we got.
That's the next thing on the.
Yes, I have.
That is what they saw.
That's for the zone.
Okay,
That's that's the next
Okay.
item.
We just
not
want to
the
make sure
site.
that's clarified just in case, because if we'd missed that, we're in trouble.
Good to ask.
Okay, all right. Any other questions or discussion?
Is the public hearing closed?
Yes.
Okay, so this is just us.
This is just,
Okay. I have some comments I just want to go over. So the first, some main points that I heard over from the public hearing is one about considering the change to the plan. One of them is that the way that I've had it proposed and the way I understand it is that we're not so much changing the plan. We're just rearranging it so that it's more convenient for the property owner. So I think that kind of meets muster and what we need in order to rearrange the comprehensive plan, not necessarily change it. And then I heard that they are redoing 7th, so that should at least help with any of the change that's going with it. And 2, because we're getting 3 less acres of intermediate residential, that's potentially 100 less units, which traffic is the thing that I keep on hearing harped on over and over. Having 100 less units in the area will probably alleviate congestion. It won't increase it. So like, those are some main takeaways that I got from the public hearing.
thank you.
In my view, looking at this reconfiguration, speaking only about comprehensive plan change, I agree, Brian, with you that this is not, to me, a change in the comprehensive plan. It's just a realigning of boundaries. And I think it's a realigning of boundaries that's better actually for residents to the north because it puts residential nearer to them instead of commercial, and puts the commercial on the highway and puts commercial over by the high school or the school. So to me, this is an improvement of the comprehensive plan as it was roughed in before. To me, this, speaking only about comprehensive plan, I don't see that. I feel it like makes sense to me.
So we've heard a lot about roadway infrastructure, particularly the 12th Street corridor. The one way I look at it is if you didn't touch the comp plan or zoning and you just built what is out there today, it's thousands of rooftops along that corridor without ever asking permission, just simply platting and building. So that's just going to be a growing pain that corridor is going to be dealing with. Obviously, it's going to get worse. That's not to kick the can down the road, but what's permitted today is several thousand rooftops without ever having a public hearing. So just I always try to keep that in mind when we start talking about infrastructure expansion. But I agree with everything that's been said. I think this is almost a textbook case of why you're allowed to modify the comp plan, because when those lines are drawn by a group of individuals, it's guesswork as far as the exact alignment. It's important when the private sector comes and says, this is actually a viable line location. So this makes sense.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I have. So I look at this so differently. And when I look at that, I see whoever's living in the middle of it has commercial on either side of them so closely. And it feels like this little island because to the south of them will be commercial. I know to the north, they've got residents, but they're sandwiched in between all of this commercial. And so I was curious, is there any other place in town that has commercial, intermediate residential, commercial right next door to it like this, sandwiched like this?
Well, in some ways, yeah, we're, our whole set downtown, the form-based code is designed so that there's commercial on the bottom and residential above it. So the net mix is actually part of a good community plan in that kind of situation.
There is a property like that
Hemming.
across from Valleywide.
Hemming Village is that way as well.
That they're going to have housing in there, but along the freeway, they're going to have commercial.
And then you have apartments, you have houses and townhouses and houses and apartments.
So when I see that right there, though, I see commercial and then I see it leading out to homes. I don't see a sandwich. I don't see all of that in between. I don't, if on the left side, on the west side of that red line, there were commercial on that, I see a sandwich, which doesn't exactly make sense to me. When I see, one of the things that when somebody asks about zoning and comes in here and says, we want to put this place here and we want people to be able to live here, and it's next to businesses, or a business comes in and says, I want to put my business next to all of these people who have homes. One of the things that we need to look at is this a nuisance for the homeowners? Are they going to have lights on? Is this a parking lot that has lights on all night? Those who sleep in those homes will have lights on all night, and that's a nuisance. So we need to look at that as a possibility. And if it's sandwiched between, I don't know what they're planning to put there, but if it's sandwiched between them, are we creating a nuisance for homeowners who could be there? And that's just the question that I have when I look at it. Is that what it creates? And I know that throughout the city, we have businesses and we have homes and businesses and homes. I do know that, but this is sandwiched.
Well,
And I think that's a different kind of a look.
Here's Sally. This one is sandwiched. You have public facilities, you have business, you have business, you have business, you have business. It ain't built out yet, but these are all commercial zones along with university over here. So they're basically sandwiched. We talked about that one. We also, if you come up here and look at, this is Thompson Farms. It's a PUD that is designed. Let me put the zoning on for you. It has commercial in it and it's doing the same thing, but some of these are surrounded by commercial too. It happens in different areas, not always. But again, when you start coming back and looking at that, and your question of what about lights and things like that, those are good things to ask. That's why it's in our code says you have to have lights that do not trespass onto your neighbor's property. And so that will all be checked and make sure that happens.
At the next step, right? So
Comes at plating and building design.
yeah, other parts at the
There's
other
codes to
times.
protect the neighbors. And there are things that also come in and say, okay, if you're next to residential, depending on the residential, you have to have this much buffer. So there'll be more landscaping or more open area before you can get into buildings if you're close to residential. Those codes come in. Again, this is when they come in to actually plat and design and build.
Okay, so as I was looking at it, it looked more narrow to me and more compact around it. And I tried to look like I went to other cities and I pulled up their maps and I tried to look to see if I could see anybody who put businesses and then right in the middle, just this little strip of
Go to Idaho
housing.
Falls.
And so,
Idaho Falls, go down by Home Depot.
uh-huh.
They have stuff going in there. If you go over on Woodruff, just as you cross Yellowstone, there's a whole bunch of homes going right in the center of commercial. You go on further down to Winco, there's stuff they're building theirs right next to Winco with stuff around it. It happens a lot in Idaho Falls.
I think we're seeing it more and more when we talk about walkable communities.
Yeah.
If it's separated, the walkability is less than if it is sandwiched.
Yeah, and I have no idea what they're looking at commercial wise, but if these are the right kind of stores along 12th, this just make it for them to easier. Again, when we get to the next level, you'll see what they're asking for as far as density, and that will give you an idea of what type of residential could go in there to help offset it. But right now, we just have to look and see, does this work as a comprehensive plan?
Yeah, so my wish would be it'd all be commercial. Because that's what we, yes, all of it, because that's what we need in Rexburg.
But on that note that what you're talking about, residential is still going to be touching residential and commercial is still going to be touching commercial. So it's a dovetail, if anything, not a sandwich. So,
Well, and it's also the site itself is bounded by collector freeway.
yeah,
So it makes sense to put the residential in the middle.
because then the
And
commercial can be a sound barrier for the residential.
Right. And then you want the commercial on the collectors.
Building residential on the highway.
Don't ask Aaron.
Right.
My therapist said, don't talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't want to live there, but some people that, live in that sort of intermediate housing want to be able to walk to the, whatever the commercial things are. You may not, I may not, but, someone who is, when I was in an apartment myself, I wanted to be able to walk around the corner to the grocery store. So that, to me, there are a lot of people who do want that exact thing. And once they're inside their apartment, all of that stuff is shut out. That your commercial, you don't see that. You're in the middle of a housing complex, that kind of stuff. So, and that was all considered when the comprehensive plan was made. And again, I think this particular realignment makes more sense than having commercial right across the street from that big residential neighborhood. I think it's the reconfiguration is actually an improvement to the neighborhood in terms of comprehensive plan, strictly speaking.
Okay, I need you to explain that to me again. You think that, say it again. That give me streets.
You need to put that map back.
So,
Yeah, we need, will you
so
put
7 South.
7th South, and you said you think that what? Say it again.
Current comprehensive plan has commercial along 7th South and
No,
commercial.
it doesn't. It has intermediate
No.
against.
No, it has.
That was backwards.
no,
it is all intermediate residential and intermediate along the highway.
And then commercial.
Yes, so it's intermediate here
Right.
and down.
Yes.
So
Okay, it's
right
the L that
now
goes
it's
down
intermediate,
here,
and then the
right.
commercial built out. I understand the commercial against the highway. I think it's great
Okay.
visibility. I think it's needed.
Okay.
I get that.
I apologize. That's correct. The
Okay, was
current-
that?
Current is
that
intermediate
different?
residential, and then
Yeah,
I still think this is a better configuration.
okay.
Any other questions or discussion on the proposal? Okay, are we ready for a motion? Or we are ready?
I'll throw my hat in the ring. So I say we make a motion to submit to city council for approval that we change the comp plan from commercial and intermediate residential to commercial and intermediate residential because the changes align with the original intent that was submitted with the comp plan.
Second. No,
Burn second then. Okay.
Agree a second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. All right. That will go to city council. Okay, so our next item is another public hearing on the same piece of property. And this is zoning now. Thank you. This is to rezone from RR1 to LDR3 and MDR2 and RBC. And then the location on this, I don't think we ever read it, was 801 South 12th West. The application is to change the zoning map from what we just said. Go ahead and have you present on that one.
Okay, thank you. This is the zoning map that is being requested by the applicant. They want to put RBC, which is a commercial designation, next to 12th Street and then along the freeway. They want to do a strip of LDR3 up along 7th South because that's a lower residential. So it's less impact to the neighbors to the north, and then put the medium density 2 in that center part where it's in between those, and then they can come in and do their multifamily or whatever they need to. Maximum they can do in the LDR3 is townhomes. So they cannot do multifamily in that zone. So they can do single family, twin homes, duplexes, and then the townhomes. All of those are allowed in that zone. So any questions for me on that?
How much acreage is the MDR2?
Oh,
16 and a half.
Trying to remember. Yeah, I'm trying to get the one I can pull up that shows the exact.
The current zoning?
RR1.
Rural residential.
Passed.
Counselor Ramo, I have a question for you. Where I chose no for the comp plan, again, I'm going to ask this question. Do I vote on this?
Yeah.
On what I think that if it, as though the comp plan has changed, I vote as if it's been changed. Do I vote like that? Because the quorum voted yes for changing it, for recommending it?
Correct. And so I understand your train of thought of saying, well, hey, this is just a recommendation to
the city council.
The city council. But again, I have this thing with hypotheticals and looking into the future. We've done this before, and
right.
It is, I can't tell you how to vote, but again, the only way that, again, this board now would, whether they vote in favor or against this zone change, it would be with it being in accordance with the comprehensive plan.
With the comprehensive plan.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Katie, do you remember where that one's at that showed the acreage?
Yeah.
Is this okay?
On page 12.
Well, the staff report summary and the staff report itself. First few pages.
I mean, there was a colored one that showed acreage.
It's on page 12.
That way we can get you the accurate.
I just have the words in the first couple of
yeah,
pages.
16.
You're way too far for the word that has the acreage.
There it is.
Okay, 16.5.
There's your acreage for each one of the zones.
5 acres. Oh, there we go.
I can't read it, so what is
Will you make it bigger again?
16.5 of MDR2.
Yeah,
3.47 of LDR3. 6.2.
16.2 and 6.2 of RBC.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one of the things you need to take into account when you look at this, RBC is a regional business center. That is something that is designed for 20 acres or more, so that you're coming in, and typically this is where big box stores go and things like that. There's some limitations in that compared to a CBC. You can't put a machine shop in there. You can't do truck shops and things like that. There's just a few things like that that just keeps it more of a professional looking, I guess is what we'll say. But it's designed for those that want to come in and master plan the whole thing and have specific things within it.
So I do have a question of clarification that regarding that. On my cheat sheet here, this says that the minimum lot size is 20 acres for regional business center. This 20 acres
Split
is
it up in the
divided.
same project.
Okay.
The two combined, they exceed the 20.
Okay, so that is permitted in the, okay, yeah, it does exceed the 20, but not in each parcel.
This is
Okay.
more of a master plan type deal where they're looking at the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question.
So in the MDR2, then you can have 4 plexes and 6 plexes, correct?
Yeah, and on up to multifamily apartment complexes,
How large?
as long as you stay within the 20 per acre.
20 per acre.
Units, okay.
Yeah, 20 units per acre, they can do that.
With the higher density along the edges. Okay.
So,
A lot of them typically put 4 plexes in, but it does allow them to go higher if
But
they
there
would
could
like
be a
to.
variety again, so. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Okay, yes, we have-
Could you have anything to add? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Since the new hearing, I'll, Caden Furman, Eagle Rock Engineering, 1331 Fremont Avenue, Idaho Falls, Idaho. Yeah, so Alan did a great job presenting it. I just wanted to kind of go just a little bit through it. Just to, I guess, give you a little bit of a background of the intent behind the zoning lines. And Commissioner Geddes, this might help answer some of your questions as well. So it's kind of standard planning practice, I guess, or strategy, if you will. But The multifamily that we have in the center of it, and just like Mr. Lawrence said, is this is more intended for like a walkable community. So people, they can live there. They're close to facilities like at the high school. You got Burton Elementary. You got commercial that'll be around. And so it is intended to be that way, to be a more walkable community where they have basically all of the amenities that they need to basically live within walkable distance. And then like Alan said, the LDR 3 on the north end, it is definitely a lesser intense use for residential, but it is because we want to provide a buffer to those larger lots to the north. And just fun fact, because this is typically how it goes, where people look at the acreage and they'll look at the zone use and they'll say, okay, there's 20 units per acre, there's 16 acres in this, and so they're going to do 300 plus units, which is a rational thought. But just for a little piece of tidbit, I guess on the design side, since I have to lay it all out myself, we generally lose about 20%, well, anywhere from 10, let's say 10 for, I guess, worst case scenario. You'll lose anywhere from 10 to 20% just due to the roads, the parking, the landscape requirements. And I've actually never done a development where I've been able to reach the maximum unit density on basically any zone, unless it's like maybe just the RR1. I mean, those are relatively easy to hit, but anyway, so I just want to give that. And then, yeah, the commercial, obviously along the frontage of the roads for the visibility, but also to create that buffer. I mean, as you know, on the highway and the busy roads, it is pretty noisy. But we will be going through the process, with Alan and stuff, because we don't want to, I guess, intrude on the MDR2 with the living units with the commercial. And so with the all-inclusive kind of master plan, walkable community, they're very conscientious about making sure like the lighting and the noise and the time of hours that they're open and all that. So anyway, that's all I wanted to add. Any questions for me?
Thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Again, same thing, come forward, state your name, address, and 3-minute time. And we'll hear first from those who are in favor of the proposal. Okay, anyone neutral that would like to speak?
Greg Newkirk, 975 Westwood Drive, Rexburg. Now I can speak specifically to the heartburn issue that I have. I think Ms. Geddes began to dig into that a bit, that heartburn that I'm getting. 7th South is not going to be the access to the RBC by the freeway. If it is, somebody's got a hole in their head. To the south is the freeway entrance and exit. This is RBC. The traffic is, by and large, is going to come down onto University, up 12th, and to have it come up and over onto 7th and access in. Like I said, somebody's got a hole in their head if they think that's how they're going to access that RBC. It's going to have to cut right through the RBC and the MDR2. This is where I have a heartburn with the way it's planned and zoned. However, there is a resolution to this, and that is, Alan said, this is going to be master planned. My proposal is, my recommendation is that this rezone be concomitant, that it be concomitant with a developer's agreement or with a master plan. And the details of that can be worked out with the city council and staff. It doesn't have to be worked out here with the planning commission unless there are some serious planning issues involved. I think it's quite easily to resolve and to be made so that everything functions exactly as they've been proposing. But I don't think that the rezone should be separate from the actual development. I think they need to be concomitant. And Idaho law allows us to have a concomitant rezone, or at least to require that there be a developer's agreement in conjunction with this rezone, or it not go through at the point of the city council. So that there should be a developers agreement that will be adopted at the time the city council adopts this, if you so recommend it to them and they so decide to do that. Short of that, I think this gives me heartburn to the point that there's not enough medication to deal with it. So those are my concerns, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Vince Haley, 2309 West 960 South, Rexburg. I just really hope that we're not the ones putting those holes in people's heads. I look at this, Tammy, and think, actually, I love this plan. You know, if you look at any recently developed town or city that's growing in the last 10, 15 years, they start to have this. And it's beautiful, actually, if it's done right. Now, you vote as if it's not done right, correct? Worst case scenario. But if it is done right, it can be a beautiful development. And you see that in Idaho Falls, especially you start to see that in very developed areas, Salt Lake. I like to go down to Phoenix. It's very common in the Phoenix area, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And that's not necessarily to a that area that Phoenix develops this. It's great that if there was a grocery store in this area, could travel a quarter of a mile instead of 3 miles into town to get my groceries, right? Or I don't necessarily have to go to Valleywide to get my drink because there's one closer, right? That kind of scenario. The LDR3 on the top, that's the one part that I don't love. I would love to see that a little bit lower. But it is a buffer, and that's why I'm neutral.
Anyone else neutral that would like to speak for the neutral for the proposal? Okay, anyone who would like to speak against the proposal?
John Paul Johnson.
Call this.
What?
You don't get an extra 30 seconds.
Okay, yeah. I'll try to remember. John Paul Johnson, 2412 West, 880 South. You guys don't get paid enough. That's the first thing I wanted to say. And the other thing, as I've been diving into these things this year, and last year, the GIS system is amazing. So if you could pass that on, I think Rexburg's GIS is awesome. I do want to say, I mean, you need to vote as if, like Vince just said, as if this is built out to the max, which is something like 365 units in the residential part. And even if you lose 20%, that's still 300 units. And if the ingress and egress is on 7th South, I mean, that was the intersection in the traffic study done for Gem Prep that showed that it went to an E, and Gem Prep was approved. So that's kind of the baseline that we're working from, I think. We haven't seen a traffic study, but so we're talking about what is supposed to be a walking community. I think it's aspirational, and I love that idea. But anyone who lives west of the highway knows that we've got schools, we've got churches, there is not a single city park, and there are not other amenities. There are no trails. I am a crazy bicycle commuter. I won't repeat what the truckers yell at me out the window. And I go down 12th West on my bike, and there's this spot that I call the Narrows. There is no shoulder on the west side. There's no shoulder on the east side. There's no sidewalk on either side. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do. The walking infrastructure, the biking infrastructure is just not there on the west side. And so 5-10 years down the road, if we get connections across Highway 20 if we get trails and bike lanes, I'd love to see something like this, but I don't think the traffic is going to allow something like this. Thanks.
Okay. Anyone else who'd like to speak against?
Scott Burton, 747 South, 2470 West, Rexburg. I guess those, a lot of the things that John mentioned were my same feelings as well. I think this seems like a good idea generally, but I'm very nervous about the traffic and the infrastructure around it. I don't know the planning that's gone in to say if there's already plans for stoplights at that corner where everybody's coming out from Burton Elementary and things like that. But it just seems like adding more houses or more units to this is only going to exacerbate the problem. As was already mentioned, there could already be 1,000 or more rooftops on 12th West as currently planned. And now we're talking about adding more to that. And it just seems like we need to do more to improve the infrastructure before we continue to allow other things to come in. Thanks.
Okay, anyone else who would like to speak against?
Mine's more of a question or inquiry.
We have your name and address again.
Desiree Diaz, 691 South 12th West. The LDR3, like the gentleman had spoken a couple before with the heartburn, said that you'd have to get off the freeway and then go down and then come up 12th and then go down 7th to get to these businesses. I'm really confused as to why 7th Street, if they're wanting to put more stuff on there, is, I mean, because it's a dead end street and it dead ends to a bunch of apartments or townhomes. And there's no other way out. So if you put more townhomes, I'm never going to get out of my driveway. Is there a plan for that? A different road, maybe, like he was saying?
Yes, please.
Okay, so a couple of things you need to take into consideration. Not everybody is going to come up and go down 7th and back in. There will be other entrances planned coming in here, through here, to get back in here. Number one, fire code's going to require that they have more accesses through there.
Okay, yeah, that was my question.
Yeah, because if you hit those higher levels, you have to have the ability, if there's an accident at this end, the people can get out or more personnel can get back in there. So I don't know what their master plan is because I haven't seen it, but that will all be requirements we as a city are going to make sure that they meet those standards.
So how come that wasn't a requirement with the Meadows?
Meadows was done in the county before it ever came into the city.
Was there?
So we actually ended up annexing that in. And it was planned, let me go back to my parcel viewer. It was planned in the future. There is a connection to connect to this.
Yeah.
So when this develops, there will be a connection put in
For
there.
them to get out?
Yes.
Yeah, because that makes me real nervous because I think if there's a fire,
It scares us.
we're gonna get trampled.
Yeah, it keeps us nervous. And so whenever anybody talks of purchasing this, we tell them, you will have to connect to this one. So that same thing, now that this is in the city, we have that power to say that. We are going to require those things based on population, access, everything else. So they're meeting that requirement.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. I appreciate it.
Well, and Ellen, can I just ask you, today's version of 7th, do we even have the full width right of way dedicated? Right.
We
So
do not.
half of that roadway is ag.
Right.
Right. So no, I'll get into it later.
Yeah, and that's another thing. When you look at that, the developer's going to have to come in and build out his half of 7th.
Yeah.
And he's going to take that probably to at least 100-foot width. So he's going to have to build, we're going to have 50 feet of it on their side. They have to build their share of that, which includes sidewalks, curb gutter, landscape strips. All that's going to have to be included in that to make sure that's in there. Same thing's going to happen on 12th. They're going to have to build out their share on that road, which will then put the sidewalks, curb gutter, everything in, which will then get us to the point where we're almost connected back to University. And in this case, they have to connect to University because MDR requires sidewalk connectivity to commercial and BYU Idaho. So that's something to keep in mind. So they will have to find a way to get clear through there.
Brent Harris, 1125 Woodison Lane, Rexburg. Just a question, Alan. You have no idea what they plan on putting in the commercial?
No.
I happen to know the family that bought it and I have a good idea, but you don't know. Okay.
Plans.
Thank you. That's all I want.
And even if I had, I couldn't tell you.
Okay, anyone else who would like to speak against this proposal? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Furman, do you have any rebuttal?
Just one thing I'd like to comment off of John's comment with City Rexburg's GIS map is awesome. There's multiple, there's a ton of different counties that are much bigger and for the worst. So anyway, I want to say they do a great job with that, and it makes everybody's lives a lot easier, especially on our end. And then Alan just touched on it a little bit, but I did want to go over just we're not talking about this, but it is part of the rezone and the current infrastructure as it sits. And Commissioner Richards said this earlier, but unfortunately, most of East Idaho is like this in every municipality, that the municipalities or the government, they don't build the infrastructure where the growth should be or where it needs to be. And they rely solely on private money or developers to come in and basically improve all of the infrastructure for them. Now that being said, I don't like that either myself, but this would be a great kickstart to getting 12th, South 12th into a much better situation with the traffic, because we would have to expand it. If you guys have been down, just south where Iron Horse development is, they had to widen out that whole intersection. I mean, they didn't put in traffic signal there or anything, or they didn't at the time that was in, but they paid their share, and then when Good to Go came in. And so just like this development, when they come through and they want to actually develop it, then they'll have to develop all of 12th West. And I mean, it basically doubles it with just their half of the improvement. And then it'll be interesting what the school has to do with theirs. But anyway, it will help because they'll have to develop their half of both 7th and 12th. This is a big master plan kind of area. And I do appreciate the fact that the concerns are when you do look at it, and when we present, we always like to present the pretty picture of what it is supposed to be like, obviously. But in your guys' position, I totally understand that whatever it is zoned for is reality. So whatever zone is there, they can come through and get building permits and develop it as such. And so it's good to plan for the worst. But I will say, as this is kind of a master plan, it's a bigger development. There will be interconnected roads inside of it. Obviously, the access points on both 7th and 12th are going to be managed by the city. So, for example, like the townhomes or the LDR3, there won't be any driveways on 7th. No access directly onto 7th for the individual homeowners there. And along 12th as well. I mean, that's what the hard part about annexing in county properties is they've got what they've got and they got to deal with it kind of deal. But as this has been developed, they are they are managing all the access and it will be built according to their plan. So anyway, I don't want to ramble on.
Okay.
Any other questions or anything for me? Thanks.
Sorry, quick question. Are you guys to the point where you've done traffic study or not yet? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we did have one letter of written correspondence. Were you all able to read that? Oh, there were two. I thought the other one was from the same people, or no?
Two separate
Well,
ones.
the first name Michael.
Oh, that's what's confusing me. Okay. Okay, so we did see those though. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and begin our discussion.
Just one point of clarification, I think that's relevant to your inquiry just based on a request that was made from public comment. On this project, the city, we will require a development agreement if it were to pass. There are two mechanisms under Idaho law in which a development agreement can be required. The first is under just general police powers. That goes back to, again, Land Use Planning Act that then gives municipalities essentially policing powers. When I say policing powers, again, it's a legal term, makes it sound like we're breaking down doors. No, that's just to enact and to require fees and other things that are associated with a specific development agreement. The gentleman is correct. Idaho law does contemplate a development agreement that can be required contingent upon a zone change, or excuse me, so the other way. So a zone change contingent upon a development agreement being entered into. That falls under Idaho Code 6511A. But that first, it's on a self-enacting state statute. To enact that or to have that be put in place, it requires a local government to they have to have an implementing ordinance. And so we would have to have a Rexburg city code that would require that. So at this point, to try to tie a zone change to a development agreement without having that implementing ordinance, it would be improper and a violation of the applicant's due process rights. Now, again, that's something that could be discussed with a governing board, with city council, in which the future they could then say, hey, we're going to enact a Rexburg, or we're going to create a Rexburg city ordinance that we could tie a zone change to a development agreement. But then that would put future developers on notice that that exists. And then if this board were to recommend it, they would have that notice, know that it's essentially a possibility, and that's the way to do it. And so again, to do it at this point would be improper, and I would advise to not make that recommendation just based on Idaho law.
Spencer, just to clarify, don't we have a development agreement ordinance attached to the final plat?
Correct, but so
there is a development agreement that comes at plat.
Correct.
Yeah.
At plat.
Yeah, at plat.
But that is not, yes, that doesn't contemplate it being tied specific to and contingent to a zone change.
Totally agree. So, I mean, we do have development agreements. They come later.
Oh, we get, again, when somebody says, hey, what's your authority? Yeah. Why are you making me enter into this development agreement? Which we get asked. Again, it's ordinance, but then again, that ordinance, anytime that you enact an ordinance, there needs to be, again, a mechanism or a legal mechanism in how it's enforced. Yeah. And so we don't enforce that ordinance through 676511A. We use, again, policing powers given through the municipality, and then enact it through a separate ordinance.
Okay.
To enact an ordinance that is a zone change that is contingent upon a development agreement
doesn't exist.
Requires, no, that does not exist.
It exists under subdivision.
Correct.
Got it.
Section.
Yep. Don't go to law school. It's a miserable time.
Any further discussion?
This is not on my ignorance, I guess, and maybe Alan, you can answer this. Is there something in the city that requires a developer to provide some facilities for, the idea of the little community thing? They're in other towns. I've seen them. They look great. They're fun to live in, but they have a walking path. They have a park for the kids. They have a dog park. They have all of that. It isn't all just, it feels like we're just plunking fourplexes and 60 acres everywhere we go. And I was just wondering if there's any kind of stipulation that is required for the developers when they do that.
You have basic requirements per the zone that come into play. And that's your basic, here's your setback in the front, your side back, your rear. Yeah. You have to have sidewalks, you have to have the street lights, all of those types of things come into play. But getting into a section where I require a park or something like that only happens when they're asking for a PUD. a
Yeah.
planned unit development where they come in and says, number one, I want to increase my density. Okay, here's the stipulations. You've got to meet so many points within this chart. One of those is recreation. One of those is higher insulation, better roof, better materials. They have, I think, 5 categories. They have to pick one at least from each one of them and hit a score of 100 before you can then do it. Summerfield is a PUD.
Yeah.
And so they come in and says, we want to cluster our houses tighter so that we'll put it in a clubhouse and a play area and all of these others amenities to do what you're talking about. That's the only mechanism we have at this point.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I share the concern as Mr. Johnson's concern as well. I would love to see the city be proactive about, planning parks and trails on this side of the highway. That would be really nice. It's not our concern tonight, but I share that concern and wish that would happen in the near future. But
And I think I can tell you with pretty much a surety, it's in the plan. But I don't know where it's at, how time-wise, because right now we have 2 or 3 parks that we're trying to get up and going. They're starting on the Teton River Park this year.
Mhm.
And I think that one was like 2.4 million.
yeah, it takes time and money.
It takes a lot of money to do it. We also have the one on Fifth West, right next to the plat you approved today. There's a park there. We own the ground. We just purchased more ground from the university behind it so that we can have a park, a walking path, bicycle path that will connect us back over to 7th South. So they're planning that stuff. And Mr. Johnson's wife is very much involved in that, and she does a great job of helping make sure everybody gets that opportunity.
It's great. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that answer. So I just didn't know what the
Okay.
status was.
Anything else?
So I just like to say that I've always been very concerned about what happens around the interchanges because it's kind of the prime location for our community and I really like this zoning change for this because I think it fits really well for what happens around interchanges. I just think it's a good fit for this type of area.
I agree. I think what's so confusing if you go and look at the infrastructure that's out there today, it's in ag. So you only have half a street. You have, nothing that would represent the built environment. So once this goes in, I guess to some of the points, you will get sidewalks, you will get widened streets, you'll get quite a bit. Yes, you will get additional traffic. But that's just part of growth.
Yeah. That's one thing I was gonna say is I feel that area is a little underdeveloped right now, especially when you drive through that, especially to the rest of Rexburg. And I feel anyone who's willing to take on this is putting us in the right direction that someone could take on the responsibility to start lifting up those roads, adding in the infrastructure that's needed to bring it up to the rest of the city. And so I too am in favor of this because I think it's putting that street in the right direction.
I wish we didn't have to do this piecemeal, but that's our system.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
They levy it.
No.
Hey, are we ready to make a motion? Or we are, should say we are ready to make a motion.
I'll make a motion. We recommend to council that they approve the rezone from RR1 to LDR3, MDR2, and RBC, the property located 801 South 12th West. As this would match, well, subject to the comp plan being approved by council, this would match within that comp plan revision and does provide the housing and the retail that would be important at this particular location.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that will also be sent to city council. Okay, it looks
We
like.
got 55 minutes to party. Quick, run, get a pizza.
Go get that pizza. Because we moved our first meeting, our next meeting will be on the 22nd.
That is correct.
Anything else, Alan?
Hey, for those of you that appeared today to testify, we just want to tell you thank you. You were very great crowd. Everybody was very respectful. You got up and give your comments. We appreciate that. Sometimes it gets kind of heated and we appreciate the people that little civility. It makes it nice for everybody. Thanks.
I would think especially those who were here for the first time, like Ms. Diaz, and who took a chance and went up to the stand. We appreciate you.
Okay, and we stand adjourned.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, is there anything else?
That's it for tonight.
Thanks, Vince. I know, and we thank you for being
Great.
brave.
Did-
Thanks for your courage. That's awesome.
Good to see you.